Can you hear me now? You know, things happen when you're on Unscripted. What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for getting on tonight. I'm excited that you made a decision to be with us. I'm telling you, you're going to be glad that you did. I got a very, did I say very special guest with us. Matter of fact, you got double for your trouble. I know it wasn't any trouble to get on, but we still wanted to give you double. I have both of the Gardeners here with me tonight, Jonathan and Becca. You don't want to miss what they have to share. Do me a huge favor. Go ahead and share this broadcast. You know what to do. All you have to do is click the little, where is it at? Right about there. It's a little share button. If you will press share this on your timelines with your friends, your family, and everyone, and let them know Unscripted is on. And in case you didn't know, we're here every Friday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Each week we have some phenomenal guests that are going to bring some amazing value to you. I guarantee you this, anytime you watch Unscripted, you're going to leave better than when you came. I appreciate you getting on. Don't forget also, there's another little button that's like right here. It's like 3 little dots. And if you click that, it'll ask you if you want to be notified whenever we're live. Go ahead and tell them, yes, I want to be notified because I don't want to miss any show of Unscripted. This is episode 9. And man, Unscripted is moving right along. Well, without any further ado, I know you've shared. I know you've followed us. You did everything you need to do. So we want to get into it. Man, there's some questions I'm sure you guys are going to have like I do. And so I want to make sure that you are here to the end because, as always, I like to pair you with our guests because sometimes, you know, there's information you want to know, but you can't get your hands on the people. So on Unscripted, we bring the folks to you. And so that way you're able to ask your question. They'll answer you directly. And man, you can get the information that you need. So without any further ado, guys, please help me welcome our guest tonight. We have the Gardeners. Hey, Gardeners, are you on?
All right. How's it going?
Hey, all right. What's up, Gardeners?
How are ya?
We're doing all right. Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah.
Man, thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to be on.
Yeah, we weren't planting pumpkins up until about 45 minutes ago.
Planting pumpkins. I know you were doing something, man, some work. You know what I mean?
Always.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Hey, I appreciate you guys getting on tonight. I know who you are, but our viewing audience, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves to them and tell them kind of a little bit about yourselves.
All right. Well, my name's Jonathan Gardner. This is my wife, Becca. We have 4 kids, graduating senior she's leaving for college next week. So we're really going to miss her heading to New York. Yeah. So, and then we have 3 boys. We got 1 high school, he'll be a junior, and then 2 in middle school, 7th and 6th grade. So we got a full family. We wish all of them love to farm, but they don't. So luckily our youngest one does. So we get some help from him. But the other 3, they help in other ways, but not so much on the farming. But
not so much on the farm.
Yeah. We grew up here, and both of us in Gadsden area. I originally from Hopes Bluff, and she's from Rainbow City. I'll let her talk a little bit too. But we've kind of been married for 20 years now. Happily married. It gets better every year. And then we've moved around.
There we go.
So, yeah.
You know what to say, man.
Yeah. So we've been farming for about, 14, 15 years. And we've kind of had a progression of events that led us to where we are now. And we can share a little bit about that. But it's kind of a little bit of our background and how big our family is. But both our families live here. We've actually moved around a little bit. We grew up here. We both graduated Gadsden High School in 1996. Actually, we were youth correcting at a church here in Gadsden right when we graduated college. But then, and I taught school 1 year at Gadsden City High School, the first year they had school. But it was English, and I realized that. I'm keeping in the background.
No.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we moved to California, and then that's where we started gardening. Yeah, because we lived about an hour from town, and so we started growing a little bit out there.
our kids were young and we were just finding out more about how organic vegetables were healthier than some other things. And so we wanted to grow our own.
Yeah.
So we started.
I'm loving this already. And
yeah.
I'm married, so I understand. This is great. So, hey, this is unscripted. So the viewers, you know, if the garden part don't get them, the gardeners will. You know what I mean? So, I saw the little nudge, like, tell them this.
I know.
You know?
She's like, where are you going with this? Well, I've got a point. Probably I'll get there eventually.
It's wonderful, man.
Yeah. So we live in California. We actually work with Young Life. It's a ministry kind of outreach for high school kids. So we were area directors here in Gaston for a couple of years back in early 2000s, and then that kind of took us to California too, where I worked at a Young Life property out there, and then
shout out to Andrew Collins all the way in Michigan. He continues to work with Young Life. That's a team I had on the show, and so shout out to you, Andrew. Hope you're watching, man. Blessings to you.
Yeah. So we did that 5 years out there. But all our families were here. We had 4 kids by then, and so we thought we just needed to get a little closer to home. So moved to Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I had some family there, so we ended up moving there and lived for about 7 years. And it's we got into gardening a little more and actually started our own little business called T-Town, Alabama, T-A-Town, like the drink. She taught school for a little bit, and then she worked with Schoolyard Roots, which is an organization that teaches gardening at elementary schools.
Now, T-Town was in town.
In T-Town,
like, right?
Yeah. So it was named T-Town because it was in T-Town. So so we did that for about, I guess we've had that business about 6 or 7 years. So we've grown, we have an herb farm, so we grow a lot of herbs and make teas, and then that's what T-Town is. But it's been a tough year for T-Town because the farmers markets have taken a hit with the pandemic. So,
well, these guys are the gardeners, not just by name, but they know what they're doing, you know. And man, we met up, and they're doing some really interesting things that we're going to get into here shortly. You know, I'm not a gardener by any stretch of the imagination, you know, but I see my auntie's on here. Hey, my auntie's on there. Good evening, Aunt Nell, William Dillon Holmes. She's on, and so she can attest to this because I would be with her in those summers. You know, my mom's originally from Louisiana, and at a very, very young age, she moved to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, but I would spend my summers in Louisiana, and so I got a little bit of that experience during the summers with my mama, my granny, and the pawpaw, and got a chance to check out, you know, some of the things that they were growing, and fig trees and blueberries, and you know, chicken coop in the back, and you know, all this other stuff in the front, and all between. You got to cut between the little path because you know they were real stinky. You know what I mean? So to experience that, you know, I didn't know that God was just allowing me to have that wonderful experience of what that looks like, metropolitan city during the winter, and then to have that experience during the summer. It really shaped and molded me, and I'm grateful that I had that particular experience. You know, now that I'm a little bit older, not too much older, I got a little gray, but I'm still young.
I don't have gray. That's just real life.
A little bit, just a little bit, man. I can appreciate more living off the land. I can appreciate the more just being able to produce those kind of things and feed your family and all those kinds of things. You know, I told you when you and I were talking that, ma'am,
just connecting with nature.
Yeah, exactly. You know, when you were a kid, I enjoyed it to a degree. And then at some point, it got boring. So I understand how your kids felt about that. However, I get it. It is connecting with nature. And most everybody in that area did some type of farming. We would just come outside and be peas on the porch, corn just in a bucket. You know what I mean? That kind of thing, because the community was that kind of community. So have the places that you guys lived in, whether it was California or wherever, were you the only ones there who were doing that, or was that the cultural kind of dynamic?
Yeah.
Great question. It was pretty much just us where we were living. I mean, in California, we were on a camp property, and there wasn't a lot of agriculture up on the mountain, so much shorter growing season up there. So that was
what made you guys start doing that? If it's not happening all around you, and
well,
we got hooked on the farmers markets. We would go down to town.
Downtown is about an hour away, by the way. So because we were up a mountain, but we would go down to these little towns, and all of them had weekly farmers markets, and they were so cool. They would have live music, they would have artists, and they would have farmers, just all set up on like the downtown street. So you can think of, if you're in Gadsden, at least you can think of Broad Street, wherever town you're in right now. Just think of your downtown area, and the whole street was closed down. And this is a lot of towns in California, and it's just a lot of fun. It's like the whole community comes in and gathers.
Like Bastille days, jazz in the park, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Shout out to all my Milwaukee people. So that sounds similar to that, to those kind of things. Festivals, different type of things. That I get it.
And then you come home with this great fresh produce, and we like to cook too. So just being able to play around with different vegetables and try some different recipes, and it was just fun.
Yeah.
So was the attraction being able to grow your stuff, or was it the health benefits of it, or was it a combination?
It was a combination. Because we both grew up here. I grew up in the country here, and my aunts cooked fried catfish and pretty much fried everything. And so and my parents didn't have great parents, but we ate a lot of fast food, and anytime my grandmother and my mom, both great cooks, but not always the healthiest cooks, but really good cooks. And so I think a lot of people in Alabama especially grew up that way, where food's really good, but it might not be the best for you. So when we got out there, I guess we started seeing things a little differently, and seeing that food can be really good and healthy at the same time. And so we wanted to introduce more of that lifestyle to our kids, especially, and ourselves. And so that's kind of what we were thinking. So,
yeah, man, man, so this is unscripted, and this is just me. So I just say stuff.
Yeah, that's all right.
Man, I grew up in, we had some unhealthy stuff too. Now, it was in Louisiana, I guess it was a little more healthy in the summers, because you ate fresh stuff, but it still was fried. It was the South. Flour battered. You know what I mean?
Hey, Louisiana food is some of my favorite. You go to
it was good stuff, man.
Yeah,
it was good stuff. Milwaukee was a little more fast food, that type of thing. Yeah, but we just had in our mind, man, that all Caucasian people just ate healthy.
No, not all. I would say not very many at all.
I know that's not the case since I've become an adult. But when we were young, all my classmates, they had like celery sticks and stuff like that. We had Cheetos, you know what I mean? So it was just different cultural dynamics. So and I said that because you said you didn't want your kids to kind of grow up eating that way. And I'm a firm believer that it's much easier to learn to do something than to kind of unlearn it.
Yeah, that's
than unlearn it, and it can be difficult when you're trying to shape or rethink through that process of how you eat and what you eat and what it means for your body. Because a lot of times eating is habitual, man. It's just habit. What you know and what you're used to, and you're not really giving a whole lot of thought to it. So I love the way you're saying that. And my wife is much better than I am. I kind of sneak the kids a little something, but my wife, she makes sure everybody has their vegetables and all the other stuff. But it's for a great purpose, so that they grow up with that, with those habits already in place.
It's like a long-term investment too. We think about, investing money. You save a little bit here for the long haul when you retire something, but eating healthy is the same way. You eat right now. When you get to retirement age, your body's going to be a lot healthier, and you're going to have a lot less hospital bills and medication bills and things like that. So it's a long-term investment, and it's really not that expensive, especially if you know how to grow it yourself. And that's what we want to do. We want to introduce here in Gadsden. We want to teach people how to grow themselves, even if it's just a little plot of land, a little 1x4 space. You can grow so much in so little space. And so
let's go for it. Let's talk about it a little bit, because and viewers, if you will share this, I appreciate it. If you will let people know that we're here, this is some very important information. As you know, we're intentional to bring you value every time that we get on. I want the gardeners to be here because, listen, whether we like it or not, we're in the middle of a pandemic. You know, whether people think it's a conspiracy or not, we're in the middle of a pandemic. Yeah. So we got this corona stuff going on, and you know, the sentiments that I am hearing, and as I talk to nurses and different persons who work in the hospital, are talking about a second wave coming in the fall, all these other type things, and we know the news is telling us the numbers are rising. You know, that's what they're telling us. You know, so we could take it with a grain of salt. However, we do know that something is going on, and whether there's a pandemic or not, it's important that we keep our bodies healthy, as you said. And you know, again, as being an African American, there's this statement. I don't know if you guys ever heard it, but it goes like this: when America catches the cold, Black people catch the flu. You know, and it's just saying that whatever happens, we tend to get the brunt end of it, or it tends to be a little worse for us. And likewise with the pandemic. Now, you know, I don't think Corona is really picking and choosing who it wants to host it, you know, to host the virus. But I do think that there's some things that we've done as African Americans that haven't been the healthiest choices, that have made us susceptible to some things, you know, as it relates to having we're predisposed because of underlying conditions. Now, I'm saying all that to say this. That's why it's important that we have the gardeners on today, because they're going to teach us some things about eating better. And many of us know how to eat better. We just don't do it. But they're going to teach us some things about how to do that, because we're quick to say, man, it's too expensive to eat healthy and all that other stuff. Yeah. But I'm with you, Jonathan. It's more expensive not to eat healthy because you're going to pay it in prescriptions and doctor bills later on. So talk to us a little bit about what you teach and how the average person, you know, I'm not a gardener, man. What does this have to do with me?
Hey, first of all, I want to say that we don't have a lot of money. I mean, so it's not like we're going out.
What?
Yeah, we don't go out spending, you know.
I brought you on here, man, because I thought you were going to give me a little kickback.
I'm going to be honest. We're on Obamacare. And so our kids are on Medicaid right now. I mean, we just don't have a lot. I want to say that because we, you know, yes, we're eating very healthy, but we're not spending a fortune on it because we don't have a fortune. And so, so were you about to jump in? I just kind of blurred it out. Okay.
So something that we're doing right now is we've started this organization called Wendy Van Houten Teaching Garden. And so we're in a couple different places right now. We're heading the community garden downtown Gadsden, and that garden is producing food to give out for free to community members. So people that live right in that area, people that come to the garden, and that's all we try to grow organically there. And so we have vegetables growing there that we're handing out.
Where exactly downtown, Becca?
Yeah, so it's on 12th Street. It's next to the old Gadsden High building. I believe it's 605, somewhere in there.
Yeah. Close
to the corner of Chestnut and 12th.
Yeah. So there's actually been a community garden there for a while, but we took it over as stewards of the garden back in January. And so we've been working a lot, and it's really looking good. So we've, you know, this year we've harvested probably
this year. Just last month, we harvested over 400 pounds of vegetables.
Yeah. So we're growing a lot. And what we're doing is, right now we have a lot of people coming to the garden. Like, we're there on Tuesday mornings and Friday mornings. And so we have a lot of people that found out about us, and they're coming to the garden, and we're giving them bags of vegetables. And we're also walking around the neighborhood now, and we know a lot of people. We've met them. Just at first it was just people on their porches, but now we know the names of so many of the neighbors, and we're handing them bags of fresh vegetables now. So
guys, listen, viewers. Yeah. So there's a community garden, and it is right next to old Gadsden High School.
Right.
And free vegetables.
Yeah. So if you come on Tuesdays and Fridays, 9:30 to 11. That's usually
9:30 to 11.
That's when we're harvesting, and you can come grab whatever you want. So, well, whatever we grow.
Right.
Yeah, but our goal is to really educate people on how to grow this themselves. I mean, yes, we're happy to give as much as we can out, and we will continue to do that. But the more people we can train or educate to grow their own foods, then the less they'll have to go to other people to get healthy food. So 'cause we can all do it.
What are some of the things that you've grown?
Oh, wow. Well, today, I'll just tell you what we harvested today. We got a lot of different types of tomatoes. Cherokee purples, which are my favorite sandwich tomato. We grow a lot of beefsteak tomatoes. I'll just go ahead and say the neighbors love the green tomatoes. So we harvest a whole lot of green tomatoes for the fried green tomato sandwiches. Okay. Yeah, but we have lots of cherry tomatoes, and then we have corn. We have purple whole peas. We have cucumbers, zucchini, squash, basils. We do have some flowers out there.
Some peppers.
We got a lot of watermelons. They're not ready yet, but probably the next week or two we'll have a lot of watermelons.
Yeah.
Might be about it. Peppers. Yeah.
And a few herbs and flowers.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So that's another thing too.
Wow.
We are happy that we're able to help beautify this space. We want to help make it another green space that people have the opportunity to be in and experience nature somewhere, some way. I know Gadsden has it's one of the
I think it's
lowest.
Yes, I think it's the number 3 unhealthiest cities in the nation. Somebody told
I
me.
get it.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah.
One of those factors is access to parks and green spaces. So we're glad that our gardens can be that too.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so we have the community garden, and we'll probably pursue another 1 or 2 community gardens in the next couple of years. We know, and not everybody's going to know where this is, but Alabama City, which is right next to Gadsden, they don't have a grocery store over there. And we had a family walk by a couple weeks ago, Hispanic family, and they were walking 5 miles round trip to the grocery store.
Wow.
She had 6 kids with her. And so they came by the garden, and luckily the kids, Becca got to watch some of the kids, and we drove them to the grocery store and back. But I mean, there's a food desert there. We just, in our towns, we just need places to be able to access healthy foods. And so,
so let me kind of, because man, you're giving us a lot of good stuff. You're giving us a lot of good stuff. And so let's stop right there, because what I found out is sometimes, it's out of sight, out of mind, or you don't know what you don't know. And so we use a term like food desert. I know exactly what you mean, but if you can kind of just unpack that, what is a food desert and what does that really mean?
Yeah.
No, go
ahead, yeah.
It just has to do with how far you live or people live from access to a grocery store. And Dollar General doesn't really count as a grocery store, even though they have some food available there. So if you, I forget what the mileage is, but most
if you have to walk 5 miles round trip, it's probably
then you're in a food desert. Because not everybody has access to transportation. Which is another thing that Gadsden doesn't have a lot of public transportation either. So yeah, there's a lot of places in our area that are considered food deserts.
Yeah, I get it. And I think sometimes we take for granted either that we have transportation, personally, or we take for granted that we can go to the local grocery store to really get produce. But people don't have transportation. They have to get what they can. And a lot of times what's available is, things that are processed, unhealthy, those kinds of things. And even if it's really food, because when you read the back of the package, you're like, what is that?
What is this ingredient?
Yeah. If you don't know what it says, it's probably not that good.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
So with the garden and your experience in gardening, there's a trend with the whole vegan and vegetarian, and it seems to be more of the trend or the fad type of thing. You know what I mean? It's a great thing, but it just seems everybody's kind of caught on recently. Number one, do you think it's a trend that'll kind of wear out, or do you think that there's some validity in being really plant-based dieters?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I would say if you have Netflix out there, check out, there's one called Forks Over Knives, which is a really good one. And then the other one is called What the Health, like HALTH. But
Yes, sir.
a few good ones that just to get an idea of why are people doing this. But yes, we're not. We've actually in the last year and a half gone more of a vegan diet. Now I'm lactose intolerant, so just going vegetarian doesn't work for me because I can't do dairy anyway. And so I would say I'm like 95% vegan, but I do cheat sometimes, especially when I go to my in-laws' houses and they're cooking something good on the grill. Sometimes it's hard to but yes, I think there's a lot of good things about being vegan or vegetarian. There's so many health benefits to it, and a lot of the problems we have, whether it's high cholesterol, heart problems, things like that, it comes from a lot of this from oils, from fats, a lot of stuff that's in the red meats. Yeah. And so, there's really something to be said for being not just vegan, but plant-based, meaning that, and that's a whole nother level above vegan, but, just really watching even the little oils you cook with, or, what else? The breads. I know breads aren't really that great for you. And so,
but I do want to say it's been a huge learning curve for us too, because we didn't grow up that way.
Not at all.
Didn't have very many people around us that were eating that way. Mm-hmm. So we have had to, learn new recipes and learn how to cook using plant-based everything.
Yeah, I mean, I still drive by Captain D's and it smells good, even though I hadn't eaten there in 20 years. So.
Just a little whiff.
Yeah. That's what I do whenever I pass a barbecue place. I roll down my windows and just kind of try to get it.
But you can make a lot of things that taste really good into a plant-based diet.
But also, I'd want to say you don't have to change everything all at once, because I think we try to just jump off the diving board and go in the deep end all at once, and it doesn't work because you're not gonna make it. So if you can just maybe change one thing in your diet that maybe
or pick one day of the week.
Like
meatless Mondays.
Or one meal a day where you're not eating meat. Something, then any little thing you do is going to help, and it builds. It'll help you. Do something else in the near future. But a lot of times we try to go cold turkey everything when it's January 1st, and by January 5th, we're
unintended cold turkey. I got it. I heard the joke.
Yeah. So
well, I kind of, one of the things that helped me, and I'm not vegan by any stretch. I'm really low on the dairy. I never was a big milk person anyway, unless it's like with some good sugary cereal, which I get a little craving. But and the cheese, I'm a pizza guy. So the cheese, but then my wife finds vegan stuff and dairy-free cheese, and she gets all this stuff for me, dairy-free sour cream and all of that stuff, so, and the one thing that kind of helps me, some people were talking about only life can produce life, and so eating live things puts life in your body, and you got a piece of meat is just like a dead flesh. Sometimes you got to gross yourself out. You know what I mean? So,
so I hadn't heard that.
And you look at it long enough, and it'll kind of help you say, hey, maybe I don't want to eat this.
Well, the other side of this too is, it is better for the environment if we eat less meat, because if you look at all the land in the world that's being, or the rainforest, or all the forests around in Africa and Brazil that are being cut down so they can make room for these livestock to get in there. I mean, that's taking away a lot of what our atmosphere needs to replenish oxygen and carbon dioxide and things like that. And so, stay in balance. And so if we're decimating our world just to feed ourselves meat that we don't necessarily need, then it's not really a good thing. So,
the interesting thing, it'd be protein. And then I was watching something. They were saying, "Man, the strongest animals in the world are herbivores. They're herbivores.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
and so it's like, duh, you know what I mean.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. So if I'm a guy, and I am, and I'm not a gardener, or I'm a woman, I'm not a gardener. My wife, big shout out to her. She's done well with her garden outside, and she's really been able to produce a lot of stuff, man. I was surprised. She's a city girl, and she's got got the garden in her blood, and she's doing very well. She's been very diligent with it, and so I've been excited for her and excited to eat the fruit of our labors. But if someone wants to get started, they don't know anything about gardening, what are some tips you would give them? Number one.
Yeah.
Then number two, what would you recommend them to plant?
Okay.
You know,
well,
to get started.
Just turns out we got a little project we're doing right now. We're creating some garden kits for folks. So we're growing. Well, we started some plants. Plus, we're doing seeds that'll help start a little 1x4 space, which is more like a little window box, or it'll fill a 4x4 spot, which is a little bit bigger, or a 4x8 spot, which is not huge, but it's enough to grow a good bit. And so we are actually putting those together, and we're selling those at wendyvanhouten.org. But for everyone we sell, we're giving one away to a family in need. So here in the community of Gadsden, if you're up in Wisconsin right now,
classroom or other organization that has space to grow something.
Yeah. So that's just kind of a little kickoff right there. If anybody's in need that you know, or if y'all want to email us through wendyvanhouten.org if you would like one, but you don't have the resources, let us know and we'll get you one.
Okay, so let's not let them miss out on the opportunity to participate in that. Yeah. So if I heard you correctly, there's garden kits that you guys are going to kind of prep.
Correct.
Yes.
And you can purchase those on your website.
Right.
And for everyone that's purchased, you're going to give one.
We are.
You're going to give one. So can you spell out the website?
I just said Wendy Van Houten. So real quick, Wendy Van Houten is the name of our nonprofit.
Right.
And it's an old circus term meaning the perfect circus. And so we like the way it sounded. Plus, it's like a circus we work with a lot of elementary school kids and such. So it kind of worked. But it's WINDYVANHOOTEN.org. So wendyvanhouten.org. It's not Becca's name. It's not Wendy. People think that all the time. But you can go there and you can either request for us to give you one when we start selling them, or you can purchase one, because it all goes back into our nonprofit. Back into the community garden, and we haven't even talked about the schools, but we'll be in 3 elementary schools this fall teaching gardening classes. But back to your original question.
Can I say something?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
So when you purchase the garden kit or get a garden kit, it also gives you access to a Facebook group that we'll have some videos on how to plant, how to maintain, and how to harvest those vegetables. So a lot of people I know during this quarantine period started a summer garden, and that's something that's a little more familiar to most of us, the tomatoes and squash and stuff. But you can be growing things all year long, especially down here in Alabama. So
maybe not Wisconsin. Sorry.
Sorry, Wisconsin. I don't know what you do up there.
Ice cubes, I guess. I don't know.
You got a few days to grow something.
Yeah. Hey, you missed the weekend.
I'm sure there's. I just haven't lived in Wisconsin. I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
But so we'll have information to help you get started on that Facebook page. And because in the fall, we're going to grow things like, those are all your greens that grow well in the fall. So collards and kale and mustard and turnips. Those all grow real well. You can grow peas and carrots and radishes and dill and cilantro. So there's a lot of really tasty things that you can keep on growing through the fall that we love to help you get started with.
Yeah, and they'll help you guys get started.
Yeah. Great. We'll have an open forum page too. They can ask questions and we'll answer them.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be good.
Yeah. Well, you have Becca's Facebook information right there. You can search her name or inbox or something like that. I'm sure she'd be glad to give you whatever information. Now, farming's hard work. Well, not farming, but gardening's hard work. So, she may be working. Yeah. Both are hard work. So she may not respond right away because she may be working. These guys are working. Every time I talk to them, they just got done working. There it is right there. Tanisha just put your website
thank you.
in there. So there it is, wendyvanhouten.org. And so if you guys want to participate, and you don't have to be in the Gadsden area, you may be somewhere, but you just want to contribute towards this great cause. There's the website for you to do that. Thank you so much for putting that on there. Yeah, so I think what you're doing with the community garden is just amazing. Coming against those food deserts and just food shortage in general. You know what I mean? There's sometimes, man, I think we think that everyone kind of lives the same, and we can forget. It's just like I said earlier, it's out of sight, out of mind. And so I think what you're doing and where you're located, I think that's wonderful. I think it's a great need there. And you and I talked about just East Gadsden and what that would look like, that type of thing. And prayerfully we can figure that out at some point.
Yeah.
You know, that would be great.
So can we tell you a little bit about the schools that we're going into?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this fall, we're going to be putting gardens in at 3 of the elementary schools in Gadsden. So Ure Brown, Stripling, and Adams Elementary.
Awesome.
So
Adams. Yes.
Yeah. So that's
Ure Brown and Adams. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're hoping to spread that community garden atmosphere through the schools, and also by putting gardens there, you just instantly create this outdoor classroom where a lot of learning can take place. So we have a whole curriculum that we use there. We'll be teaching kids kindergarten through 5th grade. And this fall we're starting virtually because the world is just where it is right now.
Yeah, but we will be teaching. We're building beds right now at the schools. We built Ure Browns this week. We'll be at Stripling next week, and Adams probably in 2 weeks. And so we'll be teaching virtually, but from the gardens at their schools. So when they come back to school, they'll be able to see what they've been seeing the whole time on the computer screen. So
yeah, and for the kids that live in the same neighborhood as the garden, as the school, then they'll have probably even more opportunity to see it as it grows.
Yeah,
come by and harvest after hours.
Yeah, our children will be able to participate in one of your online classes, and I think you guys made some pickles or something like that.
Yeah.
And so they really enjoy that and had a good time doing that. You know, so it's also something. You know, this is also something that the kids can participate in. I'm saying if a family can take on the task of growing a garden, you know, it can be a family thing.
Yeah.
You know,
for sure.
And encourage some conversation and participation with the kids and all of that. So there's a lot that can be done with that. And even as I think about those pickles, you know, Becca, you probably can speak to this just a little bit more of the canning and preserves and all of that. And that's kind of old school. And so, you know, I experienced a little bit of that coming up in those summer times, you know. And can you talk a little bit about that? Because where we're headed, it seems like more people are taking that a little more serious. Like, hey, I may want to stockpile a little bit of food.
Yeah.
So can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, there's a lot of ways. You know, canning, I think, goes way back. It's been around for a long, long time. So it's definitely still an option of a good way to preserve things that you have in the summertime that you can't grow in the winter, and you still want to enjoy those fresh, healthy vegetables. And we like to make our salsas and our tomato sauces and put those up, but we love pickles too, so we make a lot of pickles. And you can pickle just about anything. Carrots, cucumbers, obviously, but carrots, squash. You can even pickle peaches. So there's a lot of things that you can pickle.
Pickle peaches, wow.
Yeah. But you know, with if you have a little extra space in your freezer, there's also a lot of ways that you can easily freeze some of this produce and save it for later. So there's lots of information on the Google that you can look up.
Yeah.
Find that out. But you can also message us if you have any specific questions. I can answer.
Hey, it's really hard to find the cans and the lids right now. Everybody's taking them. But hey, I heard today Atala, if you're in the Gadsden area, Atala Ace Hardware has some. So
you guys just got the exclusive. Lids.
Yeah.
It's right here in the unscripted exclusive.
If you're in Wisconsin, it will be a long commute, but come on.
You know, I think that's important. We would like to think that in a country as wonderful as America and as abundant as America, that there is not the possibility of any type of food shortage. However, when we see the response of people with toilet paper,
Yeah.
The way we reacted over toilet paper, and I say we just as a country, I would hate to see how we would react if the shelves were bare when it comes to food.
Yeah.
And then we can see, like, even when there's the forecast says there's going to be bad weather, for some reason everybody milk bread and they clear out the grocery store.
Yeah.
So I can just imagine if the news says, hey, whatever they may say, and people feel like, hey, I need to go ahead and stockpile on my food and clear everything out, and you have those issues. But if you have at least some type of green thumb or some simple herbs, or if you're doing some greens or whatever it may be, all those things come in handy. And like you said, freezing them or canning them or whatever it may be, those things may make a world of difference to us in those seasons. Is there anything? I told you guys this time was going to go fast.
I know it.
So
I told you.
I would say, I just want to encourage anybody who has never gardened before. Somebody told me this a long time ago. Just start with what you have wherever you are. So if where you are, you have an old, empty plastic container that you can start placing in, then just do that. Grab a packet of seeds and just try it. A lot of what we've learned is through trial and error anyway. So.
And don't be afraid to fail. I mean, we fail all the time. Like, I had to pull some pumpkin plants that died, and I was like, what did I do wrong? I mean, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to fail, and that's okay. Just plant some more seeds. Not everything's going to survive. So.
And you're going to learn as you go.
Yeah, and hey, my last name is Gardner, and I married her, but I really didn't start gardening till I married her. So, I didn't know anything about it.
You didn't know what you were getting into.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you got the name, and he was trying to warn you with the name, but you didn't take heed. There it is.
Yeah.
There it is.
She married me. She wanted that name, so I don't know.
Yeah. Guys, I thank you so much for the information. I think it was very, very valuable. I want to give those who are watching this an opportunity. Absolutely. We'll give those who are watching an opportunity to ask you any questions they may have or any comments they may want to make.
Yeah.
Sometimes this stuff is intimidating, and, you need somebody to kind of encourage you. So they may have a few questions. So if you have any questions, just go ahead and put it on there in the comment section, and we'll be sure to address it. If you have any questions about gardening, you have any question about eating healthier, they'll answer to the degree they can. They're not nutritionists, they're gardeners, but they may have some insight on something that we need to know. And so I will ask you this: are there any fruits, vegetables, plants, or teas, for that matter, that you guys recommend that are good for the building of the immune system?
Oh, wow. As far as your immune system, I think number one, the best place to start is just by being as healthy as you can. Exercise, eating fruits and vegetables, that sort of thing. But specifically, we have some herbs in some of our teas that are geared towards bumping up your immune system, like echinacea, or some people call it coneflower. Some people grow this just decoratively, so if you have one of those around, you can use, you can use. It's a pink color. You can also Google what it looks like.
And you can use the whole plant, from the petals to the stem to the roots. It all benefits your immune system. So.
Wow.
So just clean it up, steep it in some water. So echinacea is always a good one. Lemon balm is another one that's easy to grow around here and is good for de-stressing your body, which less stress means your body's more able to heal itself. So that's always a good thing when you're talking about staying healthy.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
All those greens that are going to be growing this fall are super chock full of nutrients, and that's going to be something great to keep adding to your diet to keep your body strong.
Yeah, you can't go wrong, I don't think, with green vegetables.
Yeah.
Years and years ago, I went on a quest to lose some weight. I ended up losing about 50 pounds, and I probably gave 20 of it back, and I need to get it back. I need to get it going, maybe 25. So I need to get it going. I'm working on that now. But one of the things, you know, my eating habits were terrible. When I would eat late at night, I was younger then, so you just kind of eat stuff. And so instead of just like going cold turkey, like you talked about earlier, I said, okay, I'm not going to eat the chips. I'm not going to eat the bread or the quesadilla. I'm just going to eat a green salad, or I'm going to eat whatever it is, because it won't hurt me, and I can eat much of it. I'm not too good with portion control, so I try to find out what can I eat a lot of and it won't hurt me.
There you go.
Blueberry, greens, you know, those kind of things.
Yeah.
And so that way I'm not trying to count calories, portion. I just know I can eat this as much as I want and I'll be all right. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, green vegetables are gonna work well. And you have the whole antioxidant factor, you know, as it fighting cancer cells and all of that. We have a question here for you guys.
Okay.
Is it better to grow vegetables in containers or in the ground, or does it matter?
Okay, that's a good question.
Thank you for the question.
It does matter a little bit from vegetable to vegetable, but a lot of our vegetables grow fine in containers. You probably want a container that's at least about, a foot deep, so that the roots have enough space. But if the soil has enough nutrients in it, then containers are pretty much a good idea, especially if you're living in a place where that's how you need to grow it. So I would highly encourage that. Good drainage, a container with also good drainage.
Good drainage. So apartment, townhouse, something like that. You may not have the space. That may be the best option for you.
Yeah. It works.
Yeah, all those things that we're going to grow in our garden this fall, the greens, the carrots, the peas, they can all grow in containers. For sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
So what would you say, and this is again one of my questions, give us something that they can grow that's almost fail-proof. Because, you know, if you try to grow something, then it doesn't grow, then you want to quit right away. So what is something that is almost, you can like almost throw the seeds out there and there's just, you know, almost.
It's not real glamorous, but radishes. Radishes are really easy to grow and they grow really fast. You can get radishes in about 6 weeks. And so if you want to do a little trial run and test out your green thumb, you can get a pack of radish seeds.
Also, if your soil is not good, if there's a lot of clay in there or something, radishes will help replenish the soil to break it up.
Really?
Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah, when you grow something, it just encourages you to grow more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want them to try the hard stuff and they say, hey, I'm no good at this.
Right.
Radishes.
Radishes.
Okay. All right. Guys, if you have any other questions, go ahead and put them on the screen. That was a great question about the containers and or outside. And so how we know, get your container, put some radish seeds in there. And walk away.
Hey, I think he was saying asking which one was better. I don't know if either one's better necessarily. Like if you're putting it in the ground, you just want to make sure that the soil is a good soil, you know, because where we live right now, we have a lot of spots that are a lot of clay in there and it's just really hard to grow. So you have to mix in some good nutrients in there with it. So, but either or, I mean, can work.
Man, listen, in Louisiana, we used to sit back and eat watermelon and then we would like spit the seeds out, you know, and I don't know how long, as a kid, it seemed like it was really fast. But I've seen vines running, you know what I mean? Like I never saw the watermelon on the vine, but the fact that the vine would come, it's like, man, that's fertile.
Yeah, we have a compost pile. We just take all our vegetable scraps, and we have so much growing out of that compost pile right now.
In case you don't know what compost is, inbox Becca, she'll tell you. We have another question. If I build a raised box, how do I create good drainage?
That's a good question.
That's from David.
That's a good question. So most of the boxes that we build, they don't have a bottom to them. So it's just going to drain out the bottom. So you don't want to line it with plastic or anything like that. That would stop the water.
There is some kind of cloth you can put down, but you don't want plastic because it will hold the water in and it'll just soak in get soupy. So just make sure the box is on the actual ground. Now, if you're doing it in a container, that would be different though. But usually if it's just a box next to the ground with no plastic or anything in there, it's going to drain pretty well.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now I saw these things on kind of like an infomercial, and I'm not like kind of promoting it, but I just saw it and I wondered, you guys may or may not have seen it. It looks like a little kiddie pool, but it's made out of like some mesh or something. And so I guess you just pop it up, put your dirt in there, and you got a garden like on the go kind of. You know what I mean?
Wow. Yeah. Now I will say my mom took an old, I think it was like a pond that
Like one of those
somebody
little
had
fish ponds, koi pond or something you can buy at Lowe's.
Okay.
pulled out of the yard, and she used that as a raised bed, but just drilled some holes in it all the way around to make sure that the
actually she made me drill all the holes in it. So
he's a good son-in-law.
Yeah.
Exactly. Hey man. Good job, man. That's what you gotta do. Well, all right. Well, guys, if you don't have any more questions, there's your answer, David. You gotta have some drainage. You gotta make sure it's off the ground. Don't put any plastic there or leave the open bottom the way they have. So there you go. There you go. So guys, this episode is gonna be up because we may need this in the upcoming months. Preferably we're gonna be fine, but in the event you need to grow something, you need to make sure that you have the information that you need. I want to thank our guest again tonight, Jonathan and Becca Gardner, for being with us tonight. It was my pleasure. I had a blast with you guys. Who knew gardening could be so fun?
Yeah. Thanks for having us. We enjoyed it. And feel free to email us, message us, whatever, with any questions. We're here for the community of guests, and we want to help with people and help them learn how to grow and to eat healthy. So,
yeah.
Well, we appreciate that. And thank you for that, guys. And again, you can go to their website right there if you want to contact them, or if you want to find out more about those gardening kits that they have already ready for you, and what that is, what that means, and how you can participate with that. So thank you again, guys. Well, that is our time for tonight. Our guests have been tremendous with us. They've shared some wonderful information with us. I'm glad that they were able to get on. You know what? There's some things that you and I can learn. And for me, just having the ability to grow your own food or to be healthier, I think that's something that we all can take advantage of if we chose to. And I don't see why we wouldn't choose to do that. But it's definitely something that would benefit us all. You know, again, my wife, she jumped out there last fall and grew some greens and some other things. And then for the summer, she grew some, I think she surprised herself with how big and how much zucchini she was able to grow, and cucumbers and other things, some peppers, I believe. But it has been fascinating, whether it's by necessity or it is for relaxation, or it is for, you know, just a hobby. I think is definitely something that we all can look into. One of the great takeaways I want you to leave with tonight is that choose a healthier lifestyle. Choose a healthier lifestyle, whether it's gardening or whether it's just laying off a little bit of the meat. I love what Becca said, meatless Mondays. You know, meatless Mondays. I know we all can do without meat at least one day a week, and I'm telling you, your body will thank you for it. Give your digestive system a little break and allow for it to probably, most likely, extend your life just a little bit longer. And we want you around here. We need you to hang around. We got things to do. We don't want you going anywhere. So you are what you eat, the old adage says, and I believe it's absolutely true. Hey, guys, thank you for joining us tonight for Unscripted. Don't forget, we're here every Friday night, 8:00 p.m. Central Standard Time. We have some outstanding guests each week. And every one of our guests, they come with a boatload of value to add to your life. Thank you again for joining us tonight. We'll see you next time. Be blessed.